Okay, so recording, we are just dividing fractions. We just went over the rules of dividing fractions. So we are going to look at the division sign. You're going to take the fraction after the division sign and take the reciprocal, which is just a fancy word for flipping it. We'll change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and then we'll follow the same rules as multiplying fractions. And the important thing to remember is we don't need a common denominator when you're multiplying and dividing fractions. So let's take a look at the first one. 3/5 divided by 2/3. Are you allowed to cross-reduce something when there's a division sign? No. That's very important to remember. The only time you can cross-reduce is when there is a multiplication sign. Question? Yeah. So we actually can't do anything to this question until we get it in the right form. We are going to write equal sign 3/5. We're going to change the division sign into a multiplication sign. And then whatever the fraction is after the division sign, you're going to flip it around and you're going to get 3/2. Now you have two fractions that you're multiplying. If we were able to, would we cross reduce? I mean, you can't in this question, but if you were able to, you would. However, you can't in this question. So all we're going to do is multiply the top. We're going to get 9, multiply the bottom. We're going to get 10. And that would be our final answer. So really, what are these questions? They're just multiplying fractions. Let's look at question number 2. We have 7/8 divided by -14/3. Now, if you're wondering what happens to the negative sign, what we're going to do is, Tayshawn, I see you. Thank you. We are going to keep the negative sign either with a number or you can keep it at the top. It really doesn't matter. I always find it easier to keep the negative sign with whatever the number it belongs to, just so that we don't lose it. So I'm going to have 7/8 times -14/3 is just going to become 3/-14. Can I cross reduce this fraction? Zishan?
Yes, you can divide 7 and 14 by 7.
Excellent. We can divide both of those by 7. So we're going to get a 1 here, and we're going to get a -2 here. So when I write down my new numbers, I'm actually just going to go ahead and multiply. 1 times 3 is 3, and 8 times -2 is -16. Question?
We also divided.
You could divide it by -7. The only thing that would happen is it would just move the negative sign around. So it's going to, yeah, at the end, you're still going to have a negative sign somewhere because the overall answer will be negative. Now, does it matter where you put that negative sign? Nope, you could put it in the numerator, denominator, or besides the fraction bar. Not really feeling my writing today, guys. See that it sticks? It's like all filled in. Okay. Let's not think about it too much. All right. What happens if you have multiple fractions? Nothing changes. You're still going to look at the division sign and you're going to flip the fraction that comes after it, not before it. So in this question, we're going to have 4/5 times -4/3 times, and when I flip 4/-5, I'm going to get -5/4. And now we have multiplication sign, so we can go ahead and cross-reduce everything. Can I cross-reduce anything in this question? Banujan?
You can divide -5 by 5.
Yep, so I can divide this by 5, and I can divide this by 5. I'll get a -1 here and a 1 over here. What else can I cross-reduce? Priyanka? Yeah, and we actually have multiple options. I can divide this 4 and this 4, or I can divide this 4 and this 4. Doesn't really matter. I'll go ahead and pick the nice positive numbers. So this will become a 1, and this will become a 1. It's starting to look a little messy, so I'm going to rewrite it now with all of our new numbers. And then I look at it and I'm like, can I cross reduce again? The answer is no. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply. What's 1 times -4 times -1? 4. And what's 1 times 3 times 1? Good. So it's going to be 4/3 as our final answer. And you don't have to change it to a mixed fraction. You could just leave it as an improper fraction. You guys, does this make sense? You getting the hang of it? Okay. We're going to get into more complicated questions. So we only have 4 more, and then you're going to have the rest of the period to work. Let's look at question 4. Again, to make a fractions question more complicated, all you really need to do is throw in a couple. Sorry, I lost where I was. Where was I? Oh, I'm writing it there. Oh, okay. Not a big deal. All you need to do to make a fractions question more complicated is you just need to throw in a couple of mixed fractions and negative signs. So let's go ahead and try this one. Can I get a volunteer to tell me what all of the mixed fractions are going to become? Sharia? 7. Yep. 7/4. Yep. Times, and anytime I have a whole number in a fractions question, I don't like it. I always make it into a fraction by putting it over 1. So it's basically going to be, yes, finally, 7/3 divided by 7/4 times -6/1. You guys, when you have a division sign, you're only going to take the reciprocal of the fraction that comes right after it, not every single fraction that comes after it. So we're only going to take the reciprocal of 7/4. Remember, you cannot cross reduce anything right now. If there's a division sign, you're not allowed to cross reduce. Every single sign has to be multiplication for you to be cross reducing anything. So 7/3 times 4/7 times -6/1. What can I cross reduce here? Peyton? 7. Yep, I can divide both of these by 7, and this will become a 1, and this will become a 1. What else can I cross reduce? Yoda? Good, I can divide this by 3, and I can divide this by 3, so I'll get a 1 here, and I'll get a -2 there. I'm going to rewrite it, so it's going to be 1/1 times 4/1 times -2/1. Now, you guys, if you're wondering, do I have to do every single step I'm doing? You don't have to rewrite it. If you can see your numbers, that's fine. Also, do you have to write the little division signs? You don't have to. I feel if you're not very confident with fractions, I encourage you to, so you don't get confused. But if you know what you're doing and you're confident, then you don't have to write the little division sign. You can just cross reduce. What is 1 times 4 times -2? Good, and 1 times 1 times 1? Yeah, do I need to write the 1 at the bottom of the number? No, so actually your final answer can just be -8. Okay, let's keep going. Now let's take a look at the question. We have 2 division signs. That means we're going to be taking the reciprocal of 2 different fractions, 1/4 and -2/5. Okay, so what's that going to look like? It's going to be 2/5 times 4/1. So I flipped around 1/4 times 5/2. I flipped around -2/5. All right, what can I cross reduce? Maybe someone I haven't heard from. Anyone else want to try it? Nayara, go ahead. Yep, 4 and -2. So I'm going to divide this by 2, and I'm going to divide this by 2. I'll get a 2 here, and I'll get a -1 here. Be mindful of the sign. Don't just get rid of the sign. It still stays there. There's one more thing I can cross reduce. Yep, Emma? Yep, so I can divide this by 5. I can divide this by 5. So I'm going to get a 1, and I'm going to get a -1. I'll rewrite it. So it's going to be 2/-1 times 2/1 times 1/-1. Two times 2 times 1 is? Okay, be careful of the next one. -1 times 1 times -1 is +1. And so our final answer, we don't even need to write that 1 at the bottom. We could just write a 4. go ahead and try question number 6. I'll put the answers to it and you can check it, and then we'll do question 7 together before we start our work period. I, of course, had to save the best question for the end, because take a look at how complicated this question is. First of all, it has a bunch of mixed fractions. We're going to have to convert all of them to improper fractions. And then it has brackets and it has a division sign. Now, I know we haven't really talked about BETMAS, but hopefully you guys remember from middle school that whenever you have something in brackets, that takes the priority. It's very important to solve whatever is in the bracket first before you can do any of the other calculations. So step number 1, we are going to go ahead and figure out all of the improper fractions. Does someone want to try that? Abisha, go ahead. Yep. You're fast. Hold on. So divided by, and this is, you got -7/3. And then you got 22/7. Okay, great. So we did all of our conversions. Now, like I said, we're going to go inside the bracket first and solve that. That takes precedence. So it's going to be division sign. -7/3 times 22/7. Is there anything we can cross reduce in this question? Yep. Yeah, I can make this into a -1 and I can make this into a 1. So I'm kind of going to solve as I go. What's -1 times 22? -22. And what is 3 times 1? Just a 3. I'm asking and I'm answering at the same time. Okay, now that I've solved what's inside that bracket, I can go ahead and take the reciprocal. So it's going to be -22/7 times -14/11 times 3/-22. Finally, we've gotten this question where you have fractions and multiplication signs after every number. And we can finally cross reduce. What numbers shall we start cross reducing with, Sharia? And yeah, so the two -22s, I'm going to divide both of them by -22 to get rid of the negative sign as well. So Banujan, remember how you were like, should I do it in the other question? And I said, does it really matter? In this one, it does, because you can actually eliminate both the negative signs. Okay, so this is going to be a 1 and this is going to be a 1. And then Sharia, I think you said 7 and -14. So we're going to get a 1 here and we're going to get a -2 here. There doesn't seem to be anything else I can cross reduce. So I'm going to rewrite it. 1/1 times -2/11 times 3/1. Anyone want to share your final answer? Emily? -6/11. That's our final answer. Question 7 is definitely a challenge. If you can understand how to do that, then you understand this topic very, very well. Okay, so let me explain to you your homework. You're going to go back to handout C2. And I remember last class, I had assigned to you guys questions 4 and 5 ABC. Now you can do 5 D, E, F, G, and H, and question 6 A, B, C, D, E. Now I'll explain what we're doing in tomorrow's class.